Good morning and welcome to the first payroll webinar. Payroll, getting it right to save your business money. My name is Elaine Schofield and I'm a payroll consultant for Peninsula Business Services. Today I will introduce you to the payroll advice team, explain what types of advice can our payroll team provide, explain ways the payroll team can support and save your business money, provide some examples of payroll advice, list the top 5 tips for saving money, and just a general summary, and then the payroll contact details. The payroll team has currently 2 members, Elaine Schofield, who started with Peninsula Business Services on the 3rd of June 2013, Rich Lamb, who started with Peninsula Business Services on the 29th of July 2013. Within our payroll team, we have over 25 years of payroll experience and qualifications ranging from AAT, NVQ in payroll to a master's degree in business and payroll. What type of advice can our payroll team provide? Let's take a look at some of the options that we currently have. National insurance. We can actually calculate your national insurance figures for you. We can check your calculations. We also can advise on what type of national insurance letter to use, as there is such a vast variety of letters these days that can be used for different areas. For example, X-code. This is normally used for an employee who's under the age of 16 and also an employee who is not liable to pay national insurance. Letter C. It will be used for a person who reaches a state pension age. Category D. This is used for a contracted out pension scheme. And finally, we can provide guidance on making PAYE payments to the HRMC each month. PAYE and tax codes. We also provide advice on using the correct tax codes for new starters, for leavers and overseas workers. Employees, we can advise on employees' tax-free allowances and help understanding employees' tax status and codes. Real-time information. This is a new area of payroll which has gone live for most of the businesses since 6th of April 2013. We can advise guidance on your monthly or weekly processes for real-time information. We can also help you know when to file your full payment summary, which is the FPS, and also the employer payment summary, the EPS. Sometimes it may be necessary to make adjustments to your FPS file after you've submitted it to the revenue. We can guide you through this process too. P35s. The final tax year for filing P35s and P14s was 2012 and 13. Real-time information has replaced the year-end process of reporting files to the revenue. Since 2013 and 14, there is no longer a requirement to file the year-end reports. For previous tax year, P35 can still be amended, if needed, to make any adjustments to the actual P35 or P14s. Our team can support you through this process and advise you how to amend the P14s and what to actually include on the reports. P45, P46s and P60s. These are in-year forms. We will advise you on the use of the forms. For example, When you have a new starter, you would expect to receive a P45 with the year-to-date figures and the current tax code, and also a P46 if the employee hasn't received a P45 or never had a P45 provided. The employee will complete a P46. We can guide you on which tax code should be used for this. We can also guide you on the process to follow if the employee doesn't provide any of these forms. For example, to use an OT tax code. Salary calculations. Now, calculating salaries is a big thing. I've noticed since I've been here at Peninsula that the formula being used from our clients can vary from the clients calculating the number of days in the month rather than working out on a daily rate for the annual year. So getting this wrong could cause a lot of issues, and therefore we are here to help you calculate your salary payments. Also help you calculate your deductions as well. We can provide advice on leavers and starters pro-ratering payments. Again, this is important to get this right. We'll guide you through the national minimum wage rates and check to make sure that you're not paying the employee below that rate. Statutory payments. We can provide guidance on the eligibility to statutory payments such as statutory sick pay, ordinary statutory paternity pay, statutory maternity pay, and adoption statutory pay. There are several more of these statutory payments, but these are just a few. Or we can provide or check the statutory calculations if needed. If you require a maternity schedule for the employee, we can produce or help you through that process. We also will help you try and recover the statutory payments from the revenue. This will be dependent on the level of national insurance you pay over to the revenue. Here are a few more areas the team can provide advice. Expenses and benefits, which are based on payroll, redundancy and settlement agreement payments, holiday pay calculations, student loan deductions, court orders and how to process court orders, CSA deductions. This diagram shows the type of calls we have received up to the 1st of September 2013. As you can see, 30% of the calls have been statutory queries such as sick pay and maternity pay. 24% have been salary queries ranging from calculations to national minimum wage queries. 40% have been based on P11D queries for filing at year end, or just general P11D queries and amendments for previous tax years. 22% are other types of queries ranging from childcare vouchers to P45s. How can we help you save your business money? That is a big question. A lot of this is down to actually processing and getting the calculations correct. Payroll can assist with your holiday calculations and entitlements and salary calculations based on pro-ratering or a salary increase or decreases. We can check your personal calculations or your payroll team's calculations to ensure a peace of mind that what you have calculated is correct. Guidance on statutory legislation, the eligibility and the actual calculations of the statutory legislations such as maternity entitlements, SSP entitlements, etc. So it's important to make sure that you do calculate these calculations correctly. We also do help you provide or calculate payroll deductions such as your tax deductions or your national insurance calculations. We can guide you through any changes with this and to make sure that any calculations that needs to be done or you have done is correct. And we then have general payroll queries, which can range from basically how to put something on your payroll system to actually contacting the HRMC regarding a query. Understanding and using the correct method to calculate holidays, salary and statutory payments will reduce the risk of underpayments, overpayments and reduce the risk of penalties from the HRMC. Did you know that by failing to file your PAYE online, it could cost your business up to £3,000 per month in penalties? Not filing statutory legislations could lead to a penalty of up to £3,000 per month plus interest. HRMC have delayed issuing penalties for small businesses who fail to file real-time information until April 2014. They have not yet specified what these penalties will be. Based on previous years, it has been £100 per 50 employees per month plus interest. Hopefully the revenue will contact us and let us know what these penalties will be nearer the time. As you can see, it is important to get it right and to save your business money. Here are just a few examples of some of the queries that we've received from our clients so far. An employee has been off sick for 26 weeks and is now back on a 3-day phased return to work. What would happen if he fell sick again after 8 weeks on his reduced hours? The normal process of sick rules would apply in this case. The 3 days he is at work would count as qualifying days, therefore would receive SSP for these days. Example 2, we received a call from a client regarding his month's full payment summary, FPS. Currently, I'm completing a back transfer for the payroll and I've made a last-minute change to one of our employee payments due to a sickness. What do I do? As the payment has not yet been made to the HRMC, you have two options. You could send an amended FPS file for the employee who you have made the changes for. This must be done before the next full payment transmission. Or, the second option, you could actually make the changes in the following pay period. Example 3. Can I send full payment submission, FPS, files the day after payday? No, the FPS file must be received by HRMC no later than your set payday. Example 4. Is redundancy pay liable for tax and national insurance? There is no liability for tax and national insurance on redundancy pay up to £30,000 inclusive. Hope you actually took advantage of them examples. Now I'm going to actually talk about my top 5 tips for saving you money. The first top tip would be to ensure leavers are processed in the pay period which they leave the business. For example, a client that I used to work for had a manager. He thought he was actually making it easier for the business and to retain the employee. What the manager used to do, he would withhold the employee's resignation, hoping to talk the employee round to stay with the business. By the time the manager had sent the notice letter to the payroll team, the payroll had been processed and the leaver was overpaid. This client on a monthly basis lost an average of £3,000 through not processing leavers on time. Over a year, that could generate quite a lot of money and losses to the business. Top tip 2, keep the full record of employees' SSP days and payments. This is important regarding actually paying out and recording SSP. Not having the correct records for SSP will make it difficult to calculate future SSP payments. By not having a record, you would never know when the employee would reach the maximum 28 weeks in one incapacitated absence period. You could also underpay the SSP payment by not having that record, by not linking these absences. Incorrect statutory payments could lead to the employee making a claim against the employer. And also HMRC could also issue penalties ranging from £300 to £3,000. So it's so important that you do make a full record of all your waiting days, all SSP payments and any unpaid SSP absences. Top tip 3. Process new tax codes from P45, P46s and HRMC online notifications. In a previous job, we had a client. I was recruited as a payroll manager. When I started with this client, I noticed in the actual drawer there was a pile of P45s, P46s not actioned. Now these records had been there a few months. If unfortunately the client had a compliance check by the revenue, this could have led to actually penalties of the tax codes and could lead to an up to a £3,000 fine for not actioning these reports and forms. Also, if it is found that the employer did not follow the correct process, the HMO will make the employee pay the shortfall in tax and issue the penalties, again causing the employer to actually generate costs and lose money. Top tip: file your full payment submission on time. For 2013 and 14, HMRC have agreed not to issue late submission penalties, but from 6th of April 2014, you will be required to submit real-time information on time. Failure to do so may lead to a penalty notice from the HRMC, which will, if failed every month, failed to file, there will be interest and further penalties. So it's really important that you file your FPSs on time. Maybe get in practice now, ready for the 6th of April. Tip 5. Submit the correct information on your P11D and file on time. Submitting wrong information or missing data on a P11D, such as, for example, I had a client who actually didn't submit all car details and healthcare details for one of his employees. What he did, the employee had received 3 cars during the tax year. He had reported to the revenue the 3 cars and the date and time when he actually changed the car. But on the P11D, the employer only reported 2 cars. Even if this was a genuine mistake, HMRC will send a penalty notice for not filing the correct information. So it's very important that the information you do send is correct and right at the time of transmission. If at any time you find that you have missed these details, you will need to actually complete an amended P11D to the revenue. This may generate a penalty to your company. Our payroll team can advise you and guide you through this process if necessary. Just a quick summary now. As you can see, it is clear that getting payroll right is extremely important. Not conforming to HMRC and government regulations and laws could lead to a large financial burden on your business. We are here to help you, our clients, to get it right. I'd just like to advise you on the Payroll Advice Team's contact details. The Payroll Advice line is available from Monday to Friday. The phone number is 0844 892 2772 and select option 3. Or you can email us, which is payrolladvice@peninsula-uk.com. I'd just like to thank you for listening to my first payroll webinar. If you have any further questions, please